We're at the winter solstice, so another quarterly update. These are our annual circle gardens. Still producing lots of food, but also in the process of continual renewal. So like this bed here was planted out a few weeks ago. It's got lots of fennel, but also some really nice silver beet there. Lupins in between for nitrogen fixing, and some other brassicas as well. And then that's the most recent bed that's been tidied up and replanted. We took out the piping and nets around these sort of fruit tree, food forest area, just to give the trees a bit more space and room to grow, and it wasn't looking that great, so it's looking a bit better now. And we mulched this a few months ago. Going inside the greenhouse, this was tidied up for, I don't know, a month or so ago and replanted with seedlings and also some seeds. Of course, I've still got pots of cuttings and some trays for seeds to start in, and these are sort of starting to grow quite well now. Here's where the seeds were direct sowed. In the centre we still have some cuttings and various things growing in pots, and the bath here with the water chestnut and kangkong. Water chestnuts are nearly a year old, and so I have transplanted some of them out into the ponds and that, but next spring I will plant all of these except for maybe 6 to 10, and so this will be our place where we keep renewing those bulbs, so that we have a source of them. We don't have to buy in again. And yeah, hopefully next year when those get planted out to all the ponds and dams, they'll have time to grow and maybe produce some roots for us to eat. But we've got a variety of stuff here growing. There's fennel, there's brassicas, I don't know if that's kohlrabi or whatever, there's tomatoes along the back wall, there's a choco in there, and then we decided this time not to do any mulch, and instead we've planted densely, and we've also put a whole lot of lettuce seed down. So hopefully we'll have kind of a coverage of the soil quite soon, just with lettuces and all these other veggies growing, because the mulch that we used last winter seemed to have quite a lot of slugs and these little roly-polies that would congregate around the vegetable and slowly eat around it until it died. So we want to avoid that this year. I think the Hobbit house will feature in most updates now, especially as it's sort of the gardens and that around it grow. I'll quickly show you here what a lot of the plants that we did grow survived over the last 3 months, which is good. This cardamom here is very, very happy, and the lupins that we planted are growing really well. We can start cutting them off now before they flower, and they're definitely nodulating and giving nitrogen to the soil, so we'll come and cut off a few every day and feed them to the goats. And the plants in between are all growing pretty nicely too. Up in this area near the animal systems, we've been doing some tree felling for a few reasons. I mean, we get a lot of firewood from cutting up the tree, and there was this one big one and a couple of other small ones. We gave our neighbour a lot of the wood. He took all the big stuff that he can use a splitter for to split quickly and easily, and so he's very happy about that. And the main reason was just to let in a lot more light into this area. Those trees have just got to such a size now that we found that there's quite significant shading on areas that we haven't seen in the last couple of years. So also they kind of take away some of the nutrients. So what we do is take away these trees, make good use of them, and then we replant other trees that won't get quite so big or that'll be more useful. So there's a pecan nut tree that I just planted today. So it will also grow big, but it will take a good 10 years before it's big, and it will then give us lots of nuts as well. So I'd rather take away a non-useful tree for us and grow something that's a bit more useful, and in the meantime allow us to grow food and things here. There were trees inside this old chicken house growing up through it, so we've taken that out so that now we can put more roof on it to collect more water, and then have the space inside that'll be more dry, and so we can use that as a multifunction space for storing hay, feed, and maybe having other animals in the future. A lot of the debris from the trees I've raked up and put along bits of wood going across the contour here in this food forest extension, which still has the guinea pigs in it. They're keeping the grass really short, and so I'm hoping that woody organic material will help feed the soil. Continuously doing more and more planting up here. Kind of got all the trees I need here, and now I'm going to start over the next spring and summer planting more and more of the underlayers, the herbs and that kind of thing. Herbs, and as the trees grow I'll plant vines and so on. Hello goats, how are you? You want some veggies? Oh yes you do. So any leaf that comes from the circles there, or the fuchsia in the greenhouse, then as soon as the leaves past its best, nothing goes to waste when you've got these two goats. Plant them. Also there's some weeds in between the veggies, and we leave them like this is a dock, and it just produces so many leaves all the time, and we can eat a few of them, but this is where having animals as part of the system really is beneficial, because these greens are great for them in the winter when the grass isn't growing so well and there's not so many weeds in their paddocks, or when they're out on their chains on a tether. This is a great supplement for them, and it's keeping them nice and healthy, although they are getting a little bit fussy. See, this leaf is a bit yellow, they won't eat it. Naughty. Naughty. So they'll get quite a lot of this veggie stuff during the winter, and then in the summer, spring, summer, autumn, they'll get more tree forage that we cut for them. I can give them some now, but it's not so good for the trees to get pruned too much. You can see this eucalypt, one of the eucalypts that we cut down, is great for them to, they eat this, the one eucalypt, not that much of any others, but that particular one they really like. So while that tree came down, they're getting 2 or 3 big branches every day to eat. Good goats. You good goats. We got a good harvest of pumpkins. This here is about half what we've had. Grown in about 3 different places. Had a good harvest of apples. We left them on the tree and we're eating them as we need them. They seem to last pretty well on the trees, so that's great. The other thing I've been spending a lot of time is coming out the front paddocks with the goats, and you'll see later the chickens. And I'm constantly moving them around this area. And while I am doing that, and when I come down, I pick up loose rocks and put them either out of the paddock or in a pile somewhere, or make a use of them. The same with wood and twigs. So the idea behind this whole thing is to try and get a bit more grass growing in these areas. What you can see is we've been moving it along this fence line. Started right down where the goats are. So the goats are right the way down there. So it's been moved about 6 times. So it just gets moved each time, and the girls scratch it all up. And even although the grass is really long, they scratch in between it. And then what I do is come afterwards, once we've moved them, I come with a weed eater and then just cut all the long grass short. And I think this is making that job a little bit easier, the fact that it's been scratched up a bit. And then what will hopefully happen is that when this grass regrows and the goats come back, hopefully they'll keep it nice and short so it doesn't get too long again. And then because the goats are continuously eating that grass and pooing, and then the grass is regrowing, that should help improve the soil over time. So we've got this kind of paddock out the front here. This is the road, Sugarloaf Road here. So I'm doing that same thing with the chickens and the goats. The goats are on tether all over here.